Alright, the project today is cleaning up the Sego Palm. Looks like it probably has a couple years of growth on it, and just for the sports fans, it's a female, so you can see the flower is in just about full bloom up on top. Alright, let's get this cleaned up. Alright, we got the first row of old growth taken off. Here's the old flower from at least a year ago. So we're going to go through and clean up all of this. There's some of the old seeds in here, a lot of this old stuff. We'll just come and kind of cut all of this off and just trim it kind of like this. And then we'll come back through and clean everything up. All these old spikes left over, all this old growth. These things are pretty easy to cut off, but eventually it just takes forever to clean them off. So we're going to use a chainsaw and get that all cleaned up pretty quickly and uniformly. Okay, let's get this knocked out. We'll come back in just a second with more progress. Alright, now that we've got a little bit more cleaned up, we can see kind of how a Sego Palm grows. We have a growth ring here. Here's the layer of old flower, the next growth ring, then the flower up here, and there's this extra new growth ring. So these are relatively new fronds all the way up here. And so we're just going to come and clean it all up. So it's just the single row of fronds, the flower in the center, and then it'll probably be almost a year before the new fronds come out through the center of the flower, and then the old flower gets taken off. And so we'll come through, clean up all this kind of stuff. And another thing, this Sego has a handful of pups down here. There's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Really, they probably should be removed. You know, it's kind of a judgment call. It's either for aesthetics. They won't really outcompete themselves. You could have a pup that ends up being almost the size of the normal plant, and they'll usually do fine. But these pups, mostly for aesthetic reasons, we might pull them off and either propagate them or just get rid of them. But you can see there's like a little bit of entanglement up here, so we'll try to clean it all up. Alright, so now we're going to clean up the sides with the chainsaw. We'll just come and cut this pretty close. We don't want to cut too deep into the stem of the plant, but we're going to clean up all of this frilly stuff and get it looking nice and clean. And then you can see how snarly the pups are when they're new. I'm going to decide what to do with that later. Maybe cut down all the fronds and move out from there, or I don't know, we'll see. All right, so this is the after product, all cleaned up. We have a nice shaped crown on it. The flower's still there, pretty early in its flower cycle. This is all cleaned up. This is about the right depth that you want to go to. Some of these areas are a little bit high right here, and this is just about perfect. And this might be just a tad low, but in general, this is kind of the look that you're going for when you clean up a Sego Palm like this. All right, we're all done here. I ended up deciding to cut down the pups here, getting them ready for transplant. So we'll just come cut those pups off and then get ready to propagate them. But otherwise, the Sego trunk is all cleaned up. Looks a lot better than it did before. We have that single ring of growth, the flower in the center, and then new fronds will come out maybe in 6 months or so. But it's a pretty big change for not a lot of work.